You're watching Canadian Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. From Toronto, Ontario, I'm Catherine Bullock. Assalamu alaikum and greetings of peace. Today, a conversation with Shahzad Mustafa, Program Manager of FosterLink, about Muslim foster families in Canada. And now some news headlines. A Quebec City Municipal Party labelled Islam as a cancer. Canadian businesses facing substantial labour shortage. Fuel prices predicted to soar this week. Dozens of Israeli settlers storm Al-Aqsa Mosque after Jewish holidays. And now the details. Quebec City Municipal Party head Alan Geeson says that people are afraid to talk about how Islam is growing like a cancer in Quebec society. He claims that Islam counters Quebec's fundamental values. Geeson is concerned that a major party in Quebec is running Boufelja Ben Abdallah as a city councillor. Ben Abdallah is an important figure in the Muslim community. He is also the co-founder of Quebec's Islamic Cultural Centre, where the deadly mosque shooting in 2017 left 6 people dead. Elections Quebec received complaints about the Alliance Citoyenne Party on Monday. Saint Arnaud, Elections Quebec spokesperson, says there is no such law that removes party candidacy over hate speech. This means they cannot remove him from the candidacy list. Canadian businesses are finding it difficult to secure workers due to the COVID-19 pandemic. According to Statistics Canada, there are more than 700,000 job vacancies. In order to bring in more workers, businesses are offering their employees higher wages, flexible hours, and bonuses. Jasmine Gwinnett of the Canadian Federation of Independent Business says that only 40% of small businesses are back to making normal sales. This means that increasing employee wages will be difficult for many businesses. The healthcare, hospitality and food services, trucking and retail trade industries are all facing labour shortage. Crude oil prices are at their highest in over 7 years. Truck drivers in Toronto have been warned that fuel prices are expected to soar to 144 cents per litre this week. Due to increased demand and global undersupply of oil, the price is bound to increase by 1 to 2 cents across the country over the next few days, just in time for Thanksgiving, unfortunately. Petroleum analyst Patrick Dehan says that resources such as natural gas and coal are also in shortage. Once again, dozens of Israeli settlers stormed the Al-Aqsa Mosque in occupied East Jerusalem's Old City on Tuesday, a move seen as provocative by Palestinians. According to media reports, about 70 settlers entered the mosque compound through the Moroccan gate on the western side. Israeli authorities have controlled that entrance since the beginning of the occupation of East Jerusalem and the West Bank in 1967. Palestinian National Agency WAFA reports that last month, over 6,000 Israeli settlers breached the compound during the Jewish holidays of Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot. Israeli far-right activists have repeatedly pushed for an increased Jewish presence at Al-Aqsa. Some have advocated for its destruction to make way for a third temple, while others want to seize the compound's eastern area to turn it into a Jewish prayer site. In contrast, Palestinian Muslims and Christians do not seek to pray in the Western Wall Plaza, the holiest site in Judaism east of Al-Aqsa. Their access to the site includes going through a security check. That's it for the news. And now an interview with Shahzad Mustafa, Program Manager of FosterLink, about Muslim foster care. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the show.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Sister Kathy, pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much for joining us. A very important topic, looking after the young in our community who need help. Tell us about FosterLink.
Yeah, so FosterLink journey started about 4 years ago. I had attended a local talk at our local mosque where a Children's Aid Society representative was explaining how there are a number of Muslim children who do come into care, and this is, I'm speaking about York region, However, there was only one registered foster caregiver from the Muslim community available. So, as you can imagine, what Children's Aid Society likes to do is to make sure that there's a cultural and religious match for children that are brought into care. So, when they put children into foster care, they're putting these children into homes that are familiar to them. However, it's always been a challenge in the Canadian space to get foster parents signing up from various minority communities, including the Muslim community. So that's how our journey began about 4 years ago.
So we know that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, emphasized looking after the orphan. He went like this and said, "The one who looks after the orphan in paradise like
Yes.
this." Why do you think it is then that there's been a struggle to find Muslim foster care parents?
Well, the problem isn't unique to the Muslim community. There are challenges with recruiting foster parents across all communities, including Afro-Caribbean, indigenous communities, as well as South Asian communities. For a number of reasons, I think one issue is really around our comfort zone with exposing ourselves to the Children's Aid Society. Unfortunately, there's historically been a very there's been a lack of trust between communities and the Children's Aid Society, so people don't want to expose themselves. However, in my dealings with Children's Aid Society, I have seen that they are really trying to reach out to the community and teach Canadian citizens on the importance of foster care. So I think there's been a number of barriers, including trust.
And what's the consequence if there aren't enough Muslim foster care parents in the system?
Well, when we sit with Children's Aid Society, and most of my work has been done, most of our work rather has been done with York Region and the Toronto region, Peel and other areas, is that at the end of the day, they're telling us that when your kids are brought into care for various reasons, you know, it's important for us to put your children in homes that they're familiar with. Obviously, to keep their religious identity intact, to reduce the trauma of being moved away from their biological parents into another home. If they're brought into a home with people that look different, that eat different, whose culture is different, it's going to add more stress on that child.
So maybe I should have asked this question earlier, but what exactly is fostering?
Yeah, so fostering is a situation in Canadian law. The Canadian civil society has an obligation of protecting children within our country. And for whatever reason, if children are put under threat of abuse, whether it be physical abuse, emotional, psychological abuse, sexual abuse, if parents are themselves going through a very challenging times such as substance abuse, substance addiction, or mental health crisis or poverty, and they are unable to look after their children for whatever reason, then the state, intervenes and tries to protect those children, right? So there could be a number of reasons why children are brought into state care. Now, once they're brought into state care, the government agencies would like to make sure that those children are put into homes, because traditionally children were put into institutions like orphanages or other kinds of institutions. But the data shows that homes are always a better situation for children, and so they're looking for foster homes to put children into.
And how many Muslim children are there in the system that you're aware of?
Yeah, so that number is a moving target depending on when you speak to various regions. So in Ontario, there are, as far as I know, roughly 40 plus children's aid agencies operating in various regions. We deal mostly with Toronto and York region, and Toronto, their numbers go up and down. So about 2 years ago, when I had a meeting with them, they said that within that year, there were between 50 to 70 children from Muslim backgrounds that went through their care, right? More recently, if the number was lower. In the York region, we had a meeting with them this year. They said they have 16 children from Muslim backgrounds in their care, and they have no registered foster families from the Muslim community.
So that many children and no families. You mentioned suspicion. I mean, we do feel that we've heard stories where the Children's Aid Society, through racism or not understanding Muslim cultures, takes the children. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, so there's definitely and even to Children's Aid Society's own admission, A lot of the leadership of Children's Aid is now beginning to evolve. There are newer faces coming into the organization, including people from diverse backgrounds, and they are beginning to adopt a more of an anti-racism, anti-oppression kind of policy around foster care. Definitely, the system recognizes that foster care has historically been an unfortunate tool of colonialism and against indigenous peoples and others. And so they are definitely making a transition in terms of their culture and in terms of the policies. They're bringing in a lot more diversity. They're encouraging a lot more kinship, right? So they're trying to encourage Muslims, and this is really a call to action for our audience. They're encouraging Muslims and other minority communities to make sure you have good family networks, among uncles and aunties and so on, so that if there ever is conflict in a home, a teenager cannot get along with his or her parents, that teenager can go to another home within that larger rather than going into foster care.
So if you have 50 kids in the system in only one region and no foster parents, you're obviously doing a call today to get people to sign up. So what does it mean? What does it take to become a foster parent?
Yeah, so Foster Link was set up really to be an educational organization. So we have been running various seminars in the Muslim community. Prior to COVID, we would be running these seminars in the various mosques and other venues, at conferences, at exhibits, and Eid fairs, and so on. During COVID, we've been running them primarily online. So what happens is if somebody's interested in foster care, just get in touch with us. Go to our website, fosterlink.ca. Send us a message, and one of our reps will contact you. We'll give you a lot of information about foster care. Typically, what does it involve in terms of, your home, your what does the process look like? And if we're able to kind of help you understand or help you have a good feeling about foster care, then we'll make a referral over to Children's Aid Society, and then we'll get together with Children's Aid Society to conduct a more thorough orientation on the phone. And if you're interested, you can sign up and an application process starts, and then there's training for about 40 hours. And that whole process could take anywhere from 4 to 6 months. And at the end of that process, you are now a registered foster family.
So for anyone listening, maybe you know people, there are 50 Muslim kids at least in only one tiny little region of Canada looking for a Muslim home. So we pray that those families can get through these traumas in their life and heal. Mm-hmm. And anyone who wants to play a part in that obviously will get a lot of blessings. So thank you for coming on the show and sharing with us.
Thank you, Sister Kathy. Really appreciate it.
That was Shahzad Mustafa, Program Manager for Foster Link, about encouraging Muslims to become foster parents for Muslim kids in the system. That's it from us. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode. This is Canadian Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Stay safe. God bless.